Whoa, it's sunny in Portland. Look at that. Hey, folks, welcome to this live stream. This is kind of a spur of the moment, spontaneous, coming from lesson to lesson today, but I have some time, so I thought I'd document this etude. By the way, if you want the free PDF, grab it. I'll put it in the chat here. You can grab the PDF, and I'm also probably going to just do a little screen share as well of this particular study using the diminished 7 arpeggio over Sweet Georgia Brown. Who doesn't love Sweet Georgia Brown? Well, I mean, I love it. I mean, wait, not who doesn't love it, but who loves Sweet Georgia Brown. It's one of the all-time great swing songs to jam on and to bust out all your favorite licks. To be honest, I mean, it's one of those songs, especially popular in the gypsy jazz realm. I'm going to wait a second and see who else tunes into this. Type in the chat. Don't forget to do this. You know, that kind of allows me to know how people are enjoying the live streams and tuning in to these. This is kind of more of a gypsy jazz style lesson, just so you know. But it could be applied to swing guitar, of course, and anything with in that realm. So grab your guitar, type in the chat if you are tuning in. Let me know. And we're going to talk again about diminished arpeggios specifically, but that kind of ties into diminished seventh sounds in general. I hope you know, but it might be new for some of you. Still, this is one of the major substitutions that people use in jazz, and especially gypsy jazz. Django Reinhardt used it all the time, so it's very associated with Django Reinhardt. But the diminished 7 substitution over a dominant chord specifically. So I have lots of materials. I put a link just to this particular etude I'm going to go over, and then also just an introduction to the diminished 7th arpeggio, specifically with this diagonal. But I've got other studies, and a lot of them are for free as well on Patreon to anybody who joins the community. So the diminished 7 arpeggio is basically this sound. That's starting on G sharp here. And how you would use it, again, if this is new for you, is on an E7 chord. You would do this. Or any of that sound. You know, you can kind of mess around with this. All that stuff, those are all diminished 7 sounds that's used on the dominant chord, okay? So I'll hit an E bass note so you can kind of hear it. By the way, hopefully you know the tune Sweet Georgia Brown. If not, again, check out all of my lessons specifically dedicated to Sweet Georgia Brown, because you should know like the basic chords: E7, E7, A7, A7. I'll just go through the A section. D7, I'm in the key of G, starts on the 6, and then G6. And that's the basic progression. So in the second 16 bars, there's a little variation. So on the E7, listen to this. Now I'm going to play diminished 7 starting on G sharp, B, D, and F. They're all the same 4 notes. They're just inversion. And that's this flavor. Then when you go to A7, you move it down a half step from the E. So now I'm on G, and I'm talking about the first note here. You can just get used to doing this. And on the D7, I'm going to do just 3 notes. And this is how I like to think of it when I'm applying the diminished arpeggios in the sound to Sweet Georgia Brown. Then on the G, just G triad. We'll do different scales and stuff like that that you'll see in the etude. If you didn't already grab it, grab the PDF. And just go to that post, the link in the description, grab the free PDF, and you can see what I'm doing here. A7, D7. This is just a great way to visualize a G. But we're going to use arpeggios again. So we got this G sharp diminished on the E7. Again, you know, you could chunk out this E7. A7. D7. D7. Then on the G6 chord, and I'll pop this on the screen if you didn't already grab the PDF, I'm using a G dim 7 on the G6. That's called a tonic diminished. It gets this sound. And then G6. So I'm going G dim 7, then G6. I think I wrote a descending. I have to look. That's G6 arpeggio descending. So G diminishes this. And then G6 is this. And that's this sound. So that's the arpeggio study. It's a really great study. This is just a bare bones. Later you could do some fancier stuff. Sequence, just whatever you'd like to do, especially as you learn your licks and sequences and patterns for the diminished 7. That's really fun. So let me go ahead and just do the screen share. By the way, if you're enjoying these, please do this. That helps my channel. Join me on Patreon. I've got a free tier. I've got paid tiers. I've got 6,200 lessons and posts on Patreon. A wonderful community. If you're watching and you're on Patreon, type in the chat so I know who you are. Type in where you're at. Hopefully you're having a good holiday. But again, this is just for everybody and anybody in general, just kind of an important lesson on application of diminished 7. Sweet Georgia Brown is one of those classic swing songs in Gypsy jazz that's super fun to apply it. So let me do a screen share here. Here is the etude number 5 that I'm going over, and hopefully you can see it on the screen. So it's just all laid out beautifully here. You got the E7 chord. Oh, join my community on Patreon. Look at that. You got the E7. And then D, that was ascending. And again, I'm kind of just blazing through this just because I got another lesson coming up. But that way I can show you and demonstrate. But maybe you need work on just the diminished 7 arpeggio, own, if that's still new for you. And the way I show it is this. To do this little preliminary exercise. And actually, I didn't share that. That was shared in a previous post. So I do recommend that you get that post PDF as well and watch the lesson. But again, this is dedicated just to this particular etude. So again, hopefully you know the diminished 7 arpeggio. You got to do this a lot. And the A7. These are the preliminary studies. But now I'm already applying it. So descending. A7. And I'll put a backing track. D7. This is just really basic. And then G diminished 7, tonic diminished. That's not expected because the band is playing G6, but you're busting out, G diminished 7, tonic, and then G6. That's such an important concept. A lot of people don't think about the tonic diminished to create tension. Isn't that pretty? So you do the diminished 7, and then you resolve to the G6. So make sure you practice that with chords and your soloing. And we could do a lot of other diminished. I'm just showing you the diagonal. So let me get back to this study here. Sorry, I'm kind of in a hurry today so I can get through this and then get to a lesson. So again, if you didn't know this, we have this. And then the next one's going to go down a half step. That's super important that you just know we're just descending half steps for the dim 7. That's the beauty of this, is that you don't have to think. Once you get that first one, then you just move your hand down 1 fret and you do the same arpeggio. So that's what this study is all about. And then down a half step for the D7. And, oh no, I noticed a typo here. Let me fix that. I'll update. I found another typo. I did a typo earlier. Another one. There. So I better double check. And then G dim 7 and then G6 arpeggio descending. Let me just go ahead and update to that's called the tonic diminished, by the way. So this is D7 here. And then the first ending here we have G6, but notice I'm doing a D dim 7 arp. Okay, that's a sub. That's to create tension. You get the flat 3 and the flat 5 against that. It's kind of bluesy too. And then you resolve to the G6. And this is what I call the diagonal method. So definitely check out all of my lessons on the diagonal method for gypsy jazz, especially, but really just to help fretboard mastery. And then it goes on and does the same thing. I bet I have a typo. No, I fixed it that time. And then E minor, I'm going E minor 7, which is G6. Then I'm doing diminished on the D sharp. And then E minor 6. And then diminished. And then here I'm just doing a fun little lick. It's just a G major blues when the band is doing this. I'm doing this. Kind of a bluegrassy. And that's a fun little lick there. So if that scale's new for you, that's just a major pentatonic. It's a scale too, by the way. I'll put a scale. It's a major pentatonic scale with a blue note added in, the flat 3 there. I call it a sharp 2, but it's the same thing. So hopefully you got that. I'll update that PDF, by the way. So I'll repost it again. So if you might get the one that's slightly different, unless you get the update, which I'll do later after my lesson. Let me go ahead and put a backing track on here. Let's have some fun, just practicing it. Type in the chat if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. That's what these live streams are for. Sweet Georgia Brown backing track. I already know which one's going to pop up, and that's fine. I'll use that one. Backing track. And let's see. Yep, I knew it. Oh, here's another one. Oh, that's cute. F. Let's use this one. That's cool. So let me go ahead and pop this into the sound slice so I can sync it up and we can just practice this really fast. Again, type in the chat if you have any. Oh, well, look at that. I already have it. I already have it in there. That's so funny. All right, cool. And then all my sound slices, by the way, are available exclusively on Patreon if you want to access, I don't know, hundreds of sound slices. They're all just archived on Patreon at the silver tier. The silver tier gets you access to all of my sound slices. So let me go ahead and do this again. And I'm going to get started. If there's anybody in the chat, feel free. I've got a few more minutes here, so I'm going to just say hello to anybody who's here. Usually I have Abe, or who else there? Who's my number one chatter? You know who you are. John, Aaron, anybody around today? All right. Many are on Patreon, of course, too. So, if you're watching this on Patreon, definitely click over to YouTube so that you can actually chat with me in the live stream, because it doesn't help if you're chatting with me on Patreon while I'm doing this on YouTube. This is a YouTube live stream. I do Patreon live streams too, but the only reason I don't do these on Patreon is because I can't do screen share. It doesn't allow me to do a screen share on Patreon. So, not yet, at least. I'll ask them to do that. So, anyways, I put the backing track in here. Let's just check it out. So how, again, I would practice it now. Again, I would just go to the, pop this up. And just, find a good tempo that's comfortable. Let's see what this is at. Maybe slow down a little bit just for practicing, right? I hope you guys know the diagonal diminished arpeggio, but here we go. Let's slow down. We're just going to play with this backing track. Down half step. Descending. Make sure you practice descending. Down half step. That's it. Down half step. Tonic diminish. Major 6. And back to 7. Down a half step. Decent. Here's where it gets fun right here. are what I call boot camp studies. We're not really being too creative, but it's just good practice to get the concepts, strategy, subs, technique pretty easy. Finish tonic, made 6. And 7. Notice let's add a little chromatic. Here we go. Line 7, which is G6, diminished. And now this. Now the half step. Down the half step. And this step. You can get fancy with your dim 7 arpeggios, sequences, and patterns. I've got a lot of those as well. But again, that's just kind of the basic idea of it. So, hey, I hope you. Oh, somebody typed in Carl. Hey, good to see you. Long time no talk. Thanks for saying hello. Wow, look at that nice sunshine today. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy holidays. I'm planning on doing another live stream. I got a couple topics I want to help share, and I think folks will enjoy. So I hope this lesson helps. Grab the PDF. Join me on Patreon if you're not already on Patreon, and we'll chat with you all soon. Cheers.